Welcome back to episode 132 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. No, I am not at Dodger Stadium. No, I am not downstairs. I am actually in my room today. So that's a nice pace of things. I didn't have to lug all my stuff and go downstairs. I was able to just stay up here. And now I am looking at all my props and everything, and I like it. But
Absolutely.
um, bear with me this episode. I'm sure, as you could probably tell, I'm not feeling 100% today. You work at Dodger Stadium, you deal with a lot of people every night. You're gonna run into some people that are maybe not, excuse me, healthy. But so I think I got a little something, but I'm getting over it. I was feeling a lot worse like yesterday, so feeling better. But um, we got topics that we want to discuss today, and it's not much, but these topics are pretty big. So can't wait to see what we think about these things. But before, of course, we get into all that, Kyle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Celebrated a birthday over
Yes.
in between these episodes. Big 25 now, fucking crazy.
25. How about it? A quarter century on this planet.
Oh, nasty, man, nasty. But no, I'm doing good, man. Can't complain. Yankees are sucking ass right now, but I can complain about that. So we'll get into all of that later, though. But how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Of course, like I just said a second ago, kind of fighting a little cold here, but feeling better. The Dodgers, listen, I told you last week that the Dodgers had to go no worse than 7-3 in this little 10-game stretch they have against their divisional opponents, the Padres and the Giants. And so far, they are 5-2. So they're on pace to do that and may hopefully be better than that. So pretty happy about that. And of course, as you can probably see, I have my Shohei Ohtani hat on. And as of course, we're going to be discussing his first pitching outing with the Dodgers yesterday. Of course, I was at the stadium yesterday, so I got to see it. Pretty damn cool. And I have, things that I just saw and I noticed, and I'll share it to you in a couple minutes. But doing well. I'm doing well. And I'm sure you saw it on my story, Kyle, but I have to share this. I finally was able to find one, damn it. Oh, look
Yes.
at that. Yes, sir. Oh, gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. People on Spotify, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I have the 2024 World Series ring right there. Look at that. It opens up and everything. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. And the lighting doesn't help it at all, but because it's but oh, gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. It has the teams too underneath. Oh, fantastic. But finally was able to get one, and now I can have one next to my 2020 ring, which is beautiful also. So very lucky. It's one of those reminders that, man, I'm very lucky that my team um, cares about winning and has gotten lucky enough to get over the hump and win. I've seen my favorite baseball team win two championships in a short amount of time, and some people that are twice as my age have never seen their team win once.
Yeah.
So, uh, being able to have one of these is just another reminder that, hey, like, you're kind of lucky, man. Not
Absolutely.
everybody gets to, have the privilege and the joy of seeing their team win a championship. So I don't take it for granted. But the topics that we're going to discuss today, the Rafael Devers trade, which that came out of nowhere, and I was at work Sunday. Dodgers were playing the Giants, and I saw. First of all, I didn't even see. I have his tweet notifications on. Robert Murray, the first guy who broke it,
Hmm.
but I saw the group chat text message from Mikey,
Hmm.
and I was like, well, what is he talking about? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shit. And then I checked Twitter and everything. I'm like, damn, this is real. So we'll get into that. Of course, I just mentioned it a second ago. Shohei Ohtani making his major league, well, no, not major league, his Dodger starting pitching debut. And then of the Dodger recap. And then we'll do Kyle's Yankees recap. And then we're going to discuss a little bit of All Star game. Finally, we have jerseys and caps that they're going to wear. Thankfully, not for the actual game this year because they're not exactly the best looking jerseys, but we'll save that for the end. And then we finally have the first kind of data from the All Star ballot. And I'm telling you right now, like if these other 14 teams in the National League are not careful, the Dodgers might start have every position in the starting lineup this year. You know,
Yeah.
but we'll get into that a little bit later. But we'll start right off the top here with Rafael Devers. Crazy, crazy news dropping on Sunday. Um, Kyle, I'm gonna let you go first because you're the Yankee guy, and he was in your division, a Yankee killer, and now
Yeah.
he's gone. He is now coming out west to the San Francisco Giants, and yeah, you could go for it first, and I'm sure you're probably happy that he's no longer a part of your division anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start off with that because there's so much to unpack here. There really is, and it's like I'm finding a hard time like where to start. So I'll start with saying yes, I am very happy that he's out of the division. Um, my guy, man, ever since he came over, Garrett Cole, he has been bitten by Rafael Devers time and time again. Um, so I'm very happy that he's out of the division. Don't need to worry about him anymore. Um, so I'll take my Yankee cap off for a second, and I'll look at this trade, however we decide to slice it. So right off the bat, yeah, it came as a shock. I mean, Robert Murray, I do have his post notifications on. He's always been trustworthy. Just he's not up there with like the Ken Rosenthal's and the Buster Olneys or the Jeff Passons. So it kind of came out of a shock, and it was his tweet was very like straightforward, like Devers to the Giants, and I was like, "What the hell?" But I kind of forgot about this a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. We talked about this topic earlier in the season on one of our previous episodes, and it kind of got brushed under the rug. Devers started. We figured that they kind of handled it behind closed doors, and Devers was team first, this, that, and the other. And here, they must have just hated each other, man. So obviously, more reports have come out since the trade. It's been 2 days since the trade at the time of this recording. Um, it's just wild the way that this has come out. I made a quick video on it yesterday, but it seems like Breslow is like, if we're paying you this kind of money, we want you to kind of go above and beyond, be the clubhouse guy, be the leader. Big Poppy even started putting his 2 cents into it, which was insane. Um,
You never hear stuff like that from David Ortiz.
you don't like at all, and it seems like David Ortiz even reached out to Rafi a few times and was like, "Hey, I can kind of give you some pointers, kind of guide you the way," and it seems like he didn't want any part of it. So basically, I'm gonna use my baseball cap and just think like it kind of just stewed over the last few months since Alex Bregman signing everything else, and it kind of got to a point where Breslow was like, I don't want to deal with it anymore, and he shipped him off to the first person that because he didn't shop Rafi Devers around,
No,
and this package tells me that. So what this tells me is that the Red Sox front office wanted Devers gone. Like first come first serve, whoever gives us whatever is taking Devers. So um that's what they did. And Jordan Hicks seems to be the prized possession, the what this trade is centered around. Um Player wise. Now, what I think is actually what the best case scenario for Boston here, all of that money is off the books now. They're not paying a dime of Rafi Devers' contract anymore. It's all going over to San Francisco. So for Boston, man, and then I'll move on to the Giants. Boston is I guess they got what they wanted. They got rid of Devers. But here's the thing, though. We've seen it with Mookie Betts. We've seen it with Chris Sale. Now we see it with Devers. This is rough, man. Like that Mookie Betts trade, we're still feeling effects of it in Boston. And now Devers too. And then, well, on top of all that, they let Xander Bogaerts walk. Um, it's very interesting.
also too that none of those pieces that they got back in the Mookie Betts trade has didn't pan out at all.
No, it seemed like the centerpiece at the time was Alex Verdugo, and you know me,
He's
I'm a
out of the
huge
league now. He's,
yeah. He's basically out of the league. He's up and down with Atlanta's farm system right now, but I love Alex Verdugo. I was the first one to say it, and I'll always stick behind Alex Verdugo. But he just didn't pan out to what he was supposed to be. Yeah, I think his best days were in LA. Yeah, he shined a little bit in New York with us, but overall, it's tough, man. It's tough to see the trade packages that you got back for these three guys. These guys are borderline Hall of Famers, two of them for sure. So it's not the package you want in return, and I feel for Red Sox fans here. I do, because you finally get your cornerstone piece, and then he ships off just like Betts, just like Sale. And on top of this, the timing couldn't be worse.
Yep.
They get their fans back into Boston baseball. They sweep the Yankees right out of Fenway, and then literally Brian Hoke, the Yankees beat reporter, didn't even leave Fenway Park yet, and Devers was on his way to San Francisco. It is crazy. It's a wild. I'm still shocked about it. This trade has shocked me more than probably the most since Mookie Betts. Honestly, the fact that they actually went through with trading Mookie Betts. Nobody in a million years ever thought, like, if you have Mookie Betts, you don't let him go. He's that type of player. But the Dodgers swooped in and they got lucky enough to get Mookie Betts. Now, for Boston, I don't see it, man. I don't. I understand that he turned into kind of that clubhouse cancer saying thing, but at the same time, it's Rafael Devers, man. This is a guy who, you know, you kind of just want him to shut up and play, but I don't know, man. It's just the talent that comes off of Rafi Devers. He is easily a top 10 hitter in baseball, and you shipped him off for peanuts. And I understand you got rid of the contract. You can now spend that money elsewhere and allocate it to better assets, but it's Rafi Devers. It's going to be hard to get that kind of production back, especially now that you have Alex Bregman out for most of the season. And I don't see a world. Well, Breslow said that he believes that the Red Sox will be better off at the end of the year than keeping
Good
Rafi.
luck.
I don't see it. I don't see a world where that happens. These young guys, yeah, I'm excited for them. Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, you have Christian Campbell up. I'm excited for these guys. But it's Rafi Devers, man. That production you cannot just get back on a dime. It takes years to get that kind of production back. And you got to hope that these prospects pan out. So for Boston, I'm excited that they traded him. Number one, he's out of my division, and number two, I don't see a world where the Red Sox are better without Devers than they are with him. So now that the Red Sox are kind of taken care of, I'm going to flip to the Giants real quick. Giants are getting a stud. They're getting a bat that they need, not necessarily need, but they're going for it. Buster Posey is going for it. He's laying his balls on the table and he's making moves. I love that. Absolutely love it. And in an NL West, where at the time of that trade, the Giants were out one game from the Dodgers in the NL West, and you bring a bat like Rafi Devers in there, that's huge. That is, I can't say enough how good that is for the Giants. And you can now make a run, and I can say this with certainty. I think that the Giants are going to be there at the end of the year fighting for that division. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to win because it's still the Dodgers, but they are going to give the Dodgers a run for their money. And I love it. I want to see, the big bad Dodgers. I want to see them put to the test. And by a division rival, that's huge. That's going to be must see TV.
A real
That
division rival, not that team in San Diego that
I
we
was
try to
just going to
push every year.
I was just going to say, it's just like the Yankees and Red Sox that we mentioned a little bit ago. I want this league to have a good Yankees Red Sox rivalry and a Dodgers Giants rivalry. And I think this trade pushes it towards that. So I'm huge. I'm here for it and I can't wait to see it. Now, Devers, this is where it gets interesting. They have a third baseman. Matt Chapman is playing damn good this year. Where are they putting Devers? Now, reports have come out that he's probably going to play a mix of first base, DH, and third base. Now, however they do that, Devers is not like he just switched teams. But now, again, there was another report that said Devers was open to playing that, but he didn't feel appreciated in Boston. So who knows? Maybe he'll feel appreciated in San Francisco, and he'll be willing to play those positions. But kind of closing thoughts on everything. It's a huge win for the Giants. Absolutely huge win. They didn't give up much, and all they're having to do is allocate money now. which is what they've been trying to do for years on the free agent market with Bryce Harper, with Aaron Judge. So they're willing to spend the money, and I love to see it. So overall, I think it's a huge win for San Francisco. I think they're getting a huge bat, and they're playing good, man. They got to keep it up, and with that bat added in there, it's going to be huge. For Devers, please be open. You're out of Boston now. You got what you wanted. Be open to playing different positions and be a team player here. Don't make the same mistake twice. You're stuck in San Francisco for however long he's left on this contract. So please just be open for the good of the team, man. And then very closing thoughts. Boston, I don't know what the hell you're doing, man, but I hope you have a plan. That is my summary of the Rafi Devers trade. Still shocked, by the way. I still can't believe that it actually went through. But I'm very happy he's out of my division.
Yeah, and you know, you hit it right on the head there. Worst timing ever for a trade. Like
Mhm.
that's the thing that I think I can't wrap my brain around. Like they've
Yeah.
won 6 in a row, including a sweep of the Yankees, 8-2 in their last 10 games. And like you mentioned it, they just got their fans back in,
Yep.
got them back in. Like they were out, almost on this Red Sox team
Yeah.
about a month ago. And then they started playing a little bit better. And then these kids get called up, Marcelo Meyer and Roman Anthony. And you're like, all right, I want to see what this is all about. And then they trade Rafael Devers. Um, I'm gonna touch you hit the Red Sox part of it perfectly. I'm gonna touch more on the Giants here.
Hmm.
As a Dodger fan, this concerns me. This concerns me because um, I'm looking at the NOS standings right now. Obviously, the Rockies, they're done, nowhere to be found. Obviously, Arizona, they lose Corbin Burns for the season, probably done. You know,
Hmm.
San Diego, having seen them the last couple weeks, I don't want to say that I'm afraid of them. I'm not like I don't see. Obviously, I still see San Diego as a huge threat for this division and in the postseason. But just watching them the last couple games, they have a lot of holes in their team.
Yeah.
They have a lot of holes and they have a lot of problems. The Giants, though, this is where it concerns me. Like, not only are they playing well, but then you get one of the best bats in the game. That's where I'm concerned. So I just did the process of elimination, and I think I know where you're gonna. I think you kind of mentioned it, but I'll double down on it. I think at the end of the year, I think this Giants team is going to be the second best team in this division.
Yeah.
I really do. Um, and Buster Posey, in such a short amount of time that he's been at the helm with the Giants,
I love it.
yeah, he. What makes you think that he's not going to stop and do more?
Yeah.
Especially if the Giants continue to play this well and they can continue to stay at the pace with the Dodgers right now. They're only 2.5 games out of first place. That is nothing. That is nothing. And excuse me, they had just played for the first time over the weekend. Of course, the Dodgers got 2 out of 3, so they're right there. They're right there. And if these which they have done so far, if these giant players can continue to show the front office that hey, we're just as good as the Dodgers, let's go for this thing. And I can only imagine just the boost of energy that was brought into that clubhouse when they found out that they got Rafael Devers pretty much for nothing.
Yeah.
Pretty much for nothing. You know, um, I just can't imagine what that does to a clubhouse like that. And um, dare I say the vibes are back in San Francisco. Let's see how this goes the rest of the season. But
Yeah.
I'm very concerned about this Giants team, and it seems like I'm going to be staying up late watching a lot of Giants games for the next couple months here. But um, yeah, I can't believe that this actually happened. And we have the data to show you for these big players that get out of Boston, they thrive in their new places.
They do.
Obviously, Mookie Betts, multiple time champion with the Dodgers. Uh, Chris Sale, that was a little different situation, but you know, he goes out there the year after he gets traded out of Boston, he wins a Cy Young. You know, like we've seen the track record with some of these guys that once you get out of Boston, they thrive, and I have no doubt that Rafael Devers is going to thrive in Boston. Um, again, you're going to be looking at these trades, and we do this every day almost with Mookie Betts when he has like a great performance or something. It's like, how did the Red Sox not get more?
Yep.
How did they not get more for him? And I think you're going to be saying that a lot in these next decade for um, Rafael Devers. Like, how did you not get more, or how did you not at least shop him around?
Yeah.
Because I don't know how true these rumors were, but we did hear that apparently the Braves and the Padres were interested. But again, I don't know if I believe that just because of the people that you got back in the trade. It just you hit it perfectly. It just seems like they wanted to get him out of the building as quickly as possible.
Yep.
So, um, I feel bad for Red Sox fans. I really do because this
Yeah.
is not the Red Sox way. You
No.
know, these players want to. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you wanted to play in Boston. You wanted to be part of the Red Sox organization. They were all about winning. I'm not saying that they're not now, but this is clearly a new direction, and this is clearly just the changing of the guard. They are clearly all in on these kids. You know, and they're gonna try and build around it. The one thing that came out of this trade that was positive is that you don't have to pay Rafael Devers a dime of his contract anymore. You
Exactly.
know, so it gives you the money and the space to go get something else in the off season. But I just don't buy the fact that the Red Sox are going to be better. You know,
Hmm.
I just don't. I just don't buy that for a second.
No.
But we'll see. We'll see.
And
Maybe I'm wrong.
yeah, no, and I have two more quick points here. Number one, it's kind of summarizing the whole Red Sox thing with Mookie Betts, Chris Sale, and now Rafi Devers. I look at it as like the Red Sox have a funny way of doing business, man. Like it is the first team that I've seen do business like this. Like they are kind of just stuck in their own way that they don't want to let anybody else win in that situation. So it's like I don't give a shit what you give me. Like it's more like you're not picking names from the Giants organization. You're picking a number. You're going to Buster Posey and say, "Give me 4 players," and take on his contract. Other than that, I don't give a shit. And that's where Buster Posey's salivating at the mouth, saying, "I'm getting Rafi Devers for this. Are you kidding me?" So that's where it's wild to me with Boston's front office. And then lastly, and then we can move on. I've seen Devers play. I've seen him play very closely to my Yankees for years now. Devers is so underrated, and I don't think he gets enough credit. He reminds me of a J Ram, a guy
Yep.
who is kind of just flies under the radar. But if you look at Rafi Devers' advanced stats and you look at his strike zone percentages and go on his stat muse page, and you're just gonna go nuts. It's absolutely his baseball savant as well. Absolutely crazy. This guy mashes left and right-handed pitching, and he plays Gold Glove defense at third base. And it's like I can't stress enough what kind of player that the Giants are getting here, and I think that's where I like him fitting in this lineup with the Giants, obviously. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this year plays out. But I'm telling you right now, Bay Area baseball just got a whole lot better. Truly.
It did, and you know, it seems like the Red Sox want to play the long game here, but
How
so
many
far it hasn't worked out.
years are you gonna do that, man?
Exactly. How
You know?
how many times are you gonna just try to reset the dial here? It's
Yeah.
but maybe we'll be wrong in the end. But so far, Dodgers, Braves, they've been right with
Hmm.
what they got out of their players, and you know Boston has got the shit end of the stick.
Yeah.
And I think this is gonna happen again.
Absolutely.
I think this is gonna happen again. But moving on here, we're gonna do Dodgers, but mainly Shohei Ohtani making his pitching debut with the Dodgers. So let me just set the scene here and paint you a picture. So I mentioned to you before we started recording. So obviously I work at the stadium, Dodger Stadium. So I get an email every night before every game of where we're parking, what time the gates open, what time I have to be there, and the attendance, the expected attendance, pretty much how many tickets they've sold already. When I got the email Sunday afternoon for Monday's game against the Padres, the attendance was about 40,000. 40,000, which for a Monday night, that's still pretty good. Um, and then, of course, the report came out that, hey, it looks like Shohei Ohtani's going to pitch, forget before the All Star break. He's going to start this week, So I was like, wow, okay. And then about maybe 10 minutes later, yeah, Shohei's pitching tomorrow night against the Padres. So I go home. Obviously, I'm very excited. And I go to bed thinking, I wonder if they're going to update the email, the attendance, and where I'm going to park. Sure enough, I wake up the next morning, and now the expected attendance is about 50,000. The Dodgers and the final attendance yesterday was, I believe, 53,000. I think that's what it was. I have it right here. Yeah, 53,207. They sold 13,000 more tickets from the time that I got the email until the time they announced the Shohei Ohtani was pitching. That's insane. Like the pool that this guy has, it's remarkable. But um, of course, I get there. A lot of anticipation. Everybody's excited. Something that I have never seen before. And obviously, this is just a game in June. Like these games, like sure, are we gonna remember Padres Dodgers in a couple months from now when the Dodgers, and the Padres are battling out for playoff spots? Probably not. But because it was Ohtani, different set of circumstances. Everybody, and I have video of this. Everybody in the lower bowl of the stadium, the field level, they were on their feet the whole inning when Shohei Ohtani went out there. Like that's insane. And I have video of this too. Obviously, everybody's making a ton of noise when Otani's out there because they're excited. He's throwing like his 10 warm up pitches before he starts, and then the public address announcer for the Dodgers, he announces, now coming up to plate, Fernando Tatis Jr. He obviously gets booed, and then it just stops. It was so eerie quiet for that first at bat. Like I was nervous. I was nervous for him. It was so quiet. I couldn't believe it. You know, like I've never heard that before at a baseball stadium. The only time I hear that is when somebody takes a ball off the face or something, or they get hurt sliding into second base or something. But everybody was so quiet and they just wanted to see this guy pitch and perform. And just overall, I thought he was okay. The command wasn't there. He was a little shaky on some of his pitches, which is expected. Jesus, he hasn't pitched in 2 years in a big league game. Give him a break. He got screwed, and this is gonna bother me. He should have one strikeout
Yeah.
because he got screwed with the Machado swing. That was a swing. Like his bat clearly crossed the plate. That's a swing.
Hmm.
And everybody in the building, of course, started booing, not just the umpire and Machado, which was probably nice because not only was the attention off of Machado for a second, it was to this first base umpire who said that he didn't swing, even though he clearly did. Um, I can't wait to see more of this. I cannot wait to see more of this. He didn't get any strikeouts. He only pitched one inning, and he did give up a run, but like I said, that run should have never happened anyways. But
Hmm.
um, not bad. Not bad. The thing that I was looking for, I just wanted to see where his pitches were sitting, mainly his fastball. Because if he was sitting 93, 94 on his fastball, I would have been a little concerned about that.
Yeah.
But he said that he wanted to sit 95, 96. But then, of course, with the extra adrenaline, dude, he was pumping 100. I think he hit 100 like twice on his fastball. And his sweeper looked good. Slider looked okay, and his sinker looked good. So overall, really good out of Shohei Ohtani. I was finally glad able to see that. It sucked that it was only for one inning. He threw 27 pitches, but um, Dave Roberts said that he was only going to get to Bogarts and that was it. And unfortunately, he had to go through six batters in the first inning, so he wasn't able to go back out there. But I'm excited to see this again. And you know, for these next couple times he starts at home, man, it's going to be a circus like that because you want to see it. But once he starts stretching it out to 4 or 5 innings, 6 innings, then it's going to be like, okay, he's just another guy in the rotation now. But um, and the crazy thing about this is, and thankfully I was able to take a break, so I was able to see the whole first inning. This guy doesn't even go to the dugout. He just went to the top step, and the ball boy came out there with his glove, his shin guard, and everything, and his helmet to get ready to step in the box. Because remember, immediately after he finished the top of the first inning, this dude's leading off.
Hmm.
This dude's leading off the bottom of the first inning against Dylan Cease, and then he has to step in the box, and it's crazy. I still can't believe it that I saw that. That was insane. Uh, so the two-way player is back, and I'm so happy I got to see it for the first time, and I think he's gonna build off of it. As long, and this is the main thing for me that I'm concerned about. I just want to know how he feels today.
Hmm.
Because obviously yesterday he had a ton of adrenaline. He was all excited. Number one, I hope his arm when he woke up this morning was okay, and I want to see how he performs at the plate today. Because it's one thing, to be all that adrenaline, making your first start. It's another thing how you feel the next day. And that's the thing that I'm going to be looking forward today. When he steps into the box, is he sluggish? What happened? Then, not only did he, pitch an inning yesterday, but then he goes out there 2 for 3 with like a double and a couple RBIs. It's incredible what this guy's been doing. But Kyle, if you have thoughts about Ohtani, you can go for it. But if not, I can just keep going on my Dodgers about everything else. But it's up to you.
Yeah, no, it'll be quick and easy because I mean you hit it on the head. We the biggest thing that we got to remember here, as much as Major League Baseball, does do a very good job in marketing Shohei Ohtani. The things that we do have to remember, these guys are humans still, and although Ohtani only went 1 inning, that's what was expected out of him. That's the first thing. Second, he did not do like a rehab assignment. It wasn't
No,
him.
this was his rehab assignment.
That's what I'm saying. This wasn't him going up against double A hitters or triple A hitters. This was him major league batters, and I have it up in the at this time, 99.1 miles per hour three times. Okay, 99.9 once, and then he finished with the most velocity, which was 100.2. Um, yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. The command wasn't there, but his fastball did look good. And the one thing I've noticed about Otani when he pitches, if his fastball's working, the rest of his pitches are working.
Yep.
That's how a lot of pitchers are. But for Otani, I think it's kind of his bread and butter. It's kind of how he works when he pitches. So, um, yeah, he gave up a run, but yet again, like remember, this guy's human. It's all part of it. And for the most part, he looked great. So, yeah, I'm excited to see how he builds off of it. And I am excited to see when he gets back to full two-way player, if any way of, whether it's hitting or pitching, if anything declines a little bit. Because obviously, like, this guy's going to be taking on a workload of a full time starting pitcher and a full time DH. So it's going to be interesting to see how his bat performs while pitching. So you kind of mentioned it, like tonight. I'm interested to see how his ABs go, and then probably for the rest of the series leading up to his next start. I'm interested to see if the bat takes a back seat. I don't think it will because it's Shohei Ohtani, but just something I'll keep an eye on. But overall, no, he looked good and he's pumping 100. It's like he never left. So scary for the rest of the league, good for the Dodgers.
Here's the thing that I'm not concerned about with that though. They asked him a couple days ago before he made his start. You know, pretty much like, "Hey, are you gonna be okay handling both?" Kind of, and
Yeah.
he said that he hasn't he hasn't pitched in 2 years,
Hmm.
so he's not used to he's been so used to being the two-way player, prepping for hitting and pitching, that he said that it has been an adjustment for him just
Just
trying to be just to hit. He's not used to that, which is insane to say.
yeah.
you know. But so that's the thing that I keep going back to. Like I think he's gonna be okay.
Oh yeah, no, for
That
sure.
now he's gonna be back on his normal routine, like he was with the Angels 2 years ago when he was pitching every 5 or 6 days.
Yeah,
Now he's back to his normal routine. Here's the one thing though that I am concerned about, and I think if his bat does decline a little bit, I think you will see a change.
yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked in a couple weeks or maybe a month or so if they take him out of the leadoff spot
yeah,
because the data has shown that he kind of like when he started when he's pitching and he's leading off, his numbers at the plate decline a little bit.
yeah.
So I wonder if this continues in a couple weeks. If Dave Roberts is like, you know what, Mookie, you're back to the leadoff spot. I'm gonna put Shohei back at two. We'll
Hmm.
see. I don't know, but of course, if he continues to play like we've seen him, that they're not touching that. But
No,
and just to give my rest of thoughts on the Dodgers, they're showing me something. Like I said, I told you I wanted to see something out of this team. Now, at the time of this recording, we still have 3 more games left against the Padres, but they went to San Diego and took 2 out of 3 after getting clobbered in game two. Um, they took 2 out of 3 against the Giants after losing Friday night to Logan Webb, and then they win last night. So the Dodgers overall are showing me something, and they're getting healthier. Kirby Yates came back. Michael Kopech's back. The bullpen is getting healthier, and starting pitching's coming around. The Dodgers are going to throw another bullpen game today, unfortunately, but Blake Snell's starting to throw again. Tyler Glasnow threw another bullpen yesterday. Blake Trinan threw another bullpen yesterday. Like the reinforcements are coming, you know, and that's the thing that is I'm getting really excited about, and hopefully by next month at this time, hopefully most of your starting pitchers are back at this point, and we can really see what this Dodger team is made of. But I told you I wanted them to show me something in these 10 games. Like, hey, you have a chance to make some separation with you and the two teams that you're chasing. And so far, they're 5-2, and they've done that. They have 3 more games left against the Padres. So we're not out of the woods yet, but so far, really liking what I'm seeing out of this Dodger team. They're. It just goes to show you that this Dodger team is so good, they can almost turn off and turn on the switch whenever they want. And you saw that yesterday. It was a big game. Shohei Ohtani, a full house. You know, Dylan Cease, who had just completely shut the Dodgers down last week in San Diego. He pitched 7 scoreless innings. Comes out to Dodger Stadium. He gets rocked. He gets rocked. Couldn't even get out of the fourth inning, I think. So it was a great atmosphere last night too. Like I can't say that enough. Like yesterday, from Ohtani pitching and just the whole game, mainly that fourth inning where the Dodgers put 5 up on the board and basically ended the Padres' night. Playoff atmosphere. It felt like a playoff atmosphere. It was crazy. It was crazy. Dodger fans going crazy. You know. So overall, really happy with the Dodgers. And like I've said it before, and I'm going to continue to say it until they're all healthy. Get healthy. Get healthy. And I think it's scary for the rest of the league that with all these pitching injuries that they have, they've been able to stay above water. They've been able to stay above water. You know, that's the thing that makes me happy here. And once they get out of this last 3 stretch of the Padres, their schedule is going to get a little easier. They play Washington this weekend to close the homestand. Then they go to Colorado. Then they play the Royals. They play the White Sox, the Astros, um, the Brewers, and then they finish in San Francisco, a 3-game series to close out the first half of the season. Like once you're out of this stretch with the Padres here, the schedule's going to get a little easier going to the All Star break. So that's why I said do the best you can in these 10 games to stay above water. Because not only can you create some separation, but the schedule is going to get a lot easier too. And so far, the Dodgers have done that, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy, and I'm very impressed. They punted a game away last week. Kike Hernandez had to pitch 3 innings last week in relief, and then, but the Dodgers and Dave Roberts know what they're doing. What did they do? They go out there the next day and they beat the Padres and took 2 out of 3 with a bullpen game. So overall, super impressive with this Dodger team, and hopefully they continue going. So I feel bad also too, and I'll get off of this. Yesterday was not all. Not only was it Shohei Ohtani making his pitching debut for the Dodgers, it was also Blake Snell bobblehead night. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody cared even before Shohei was pitching. But now, really, nobody cared. But so I feel bad for him. And then the trolling continues the next three. Well, really, the next two nights of the Padres. Tonight, they're giving away replica World Series trophies, and tomorrow, which this is the cool one, and I'm gonna bring this. I'm gonna bring this with me. Replica gold jersey giveaway night. Not this one. This is authentic. This is what the ball players wear. This is mine. So, but they're giving away these gold jerseys tomorrow, and I'm super excited for that. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they're gonna wear them tomorrow. The
Mm,
Dodger players. I could be wrong, but
yeah,
um, so the trolling continues, and I like it. But overall, super impressive with the Dodgers. Just keep it up and get healthy. That's my Dodger recap.
absolutely. Yeah, so I'll give my very quick thoughts on the Yankees. It's not going to take long.
How about
They've
them
been
Bronx Bombers?
they've been shit, man. They just got swept by Boston. Still, they're right now in the middle of a four-game losing streak. Last night, they completely wasted Clark Schmidt's gem of a game. Pitched into the eighth inning. He looked amazing, man, and the offense just couldn't do anything. Um, and they ended up losing 5 out of 6 from Boston in the last 2 weeks. That's not what you want as a Yankee fan. Um, Now, I'm going to take the high road here and take some positivity. Just like the Dodgers, the Yankees have a very it's easier schedule coming up. They have tonight marks the second of 4 games against the Angels. You got to take advantage of this. OPS wise, the Angels are the worst team in the league. If they're not getting on base, they can't. Like they beat the Yankees 1-0 last night. Like, come on, you got the offense got to pick up and take care of business against the Angels. Um, After that, you stay home against Baltimore. Then you go to Cincinnati for 3 games, and then you go back home for a 3 game series against the Athletics, and then you start a 4 game series against Toronto, 3 game against the Mets, 3 game against Seattle, and then 3 against Chicago, the Cubs. That is. This is where you got to take advantage. You got to create some more separation in the division. Now, not too much to complain about. The Yankees are still in first place in the AL East. They're 42-29, but the winning streak needs to come back. Like this losing streak can't keep up. You're 2.5 games up on the second place Tampa Bay Rays. Um, you got to create separation there, and I hope with this easier schedule coming up that they can do that. Yeah, overall though, pitching, I like what I see. Now, where it hurts is the offense. The offense ain't doing shit right now. However, Stanton came back last night. He went 2 for 4. He looked great, man. He's hitting the ball hard. He looks like he's taking good swings out of the batter's box. Stanton can be a complete game changer to this lineup. You add him in with a red hot Aaron Judge. Well, not recently, but season wise. Paul Goldschmidt and then Cody Bellinger, and then you have Stanton in the wings, and then complementing all those veteran guys, you have the younger ones such as Austin Wells. Um, so overall, this team and Ben Rice too. This team can get better, but the offense needs to turn this shit around. And I think Aaron Judge is the one who I'm looking at. You're the leader of this team. You haven't been doing good. You got to turn it around, and you got to make some noise and get the guys back into the game. You got to pump them up a little bit. So overall, though, the Yankees are in first place in the AL East, 2.5 games up on the Rays. So not too much to complain about. But I'm kind of excited for the All Star break, man. Obviously, that's when the trades come in, and I'm excited. I hope and pray that the Yankees are on the trade market this year. We need bullpen help for sure. I would absolutely love if they added another bat in there to complement the veteran guys. But yeah, I think overall bullpen, maybe another bat, and maybe like a depth piece, kind of like a Ryan Yarbrough type of guy. I'd love to see swing back and forth between the bullpen and the starting rotation. But those are my 2 cents on the Yankees. Not too much. They've been playing like shit, so just turn it around. That's pretty much all I have.
All right, last thing here, and then we'll call it a day. All Star game, All Star game jerseys and caps and everything have been released, and the All Star voting. So I have the jerseys right in front of me. Thank God MLB got their shit together and realized that we cannot wear this crap for the actual game. And for people who don't believe it, it's true. Bullying does work sometimes. Bullying does work. You know, there were so many fans, including myself, that never understood why they switched it. You know, a couple years ago they switched. I think it was 2021 when they started doing this. Yeah, where because when I was growing up as a kid, they would have those special jerseys. They would wear those for the home run derby, and they would wear those for like the workout and stuff. But then for the actual game on Tuesday, the National League and the American League would alternate with home and away jerseys, and they got off of that the last couple of years. And of course, there was a bunch of outrage. None like last year. Last year, those jerseys were horrible, but um, I have the jerseys right in front of me. I mean, they're not bad now that I look at them a little bit more. But again, I'm just so glad they're not wearing these on Tuesday for the
Mhm.
actual game. But um, the caps look good. The caps look nice. The caps look nice. Both the home run derby ones to me and the normal ones. But yeah, I'm so glad that they're not. They got back to the tradition like they used to do it. That's the main thing, because I never liked it from the beginning, and I'm so glad that they're getting off of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is like me completely being like this is not relevant at all. And I'm admitting that. You know what I hate? I don't like that the American League jerseys look more like the Braves jerseys than the National
Yeah,
League does. I listen, it's a very stupid comment to make, but the Braves are in the National League. They're the hosts of the All-Star game this year. I don't know. That's just me being me. But overall, though, I mean, the jerseys, I'm not a fan of them. It looks like they just slapped on American League and National League in the Braves font and then called it a day. I'm not a fan of the jerseys at all. But the hats, they're decent. They're not bad. Um, but I'm definitely glad that they are only wearing them for like the festivities type of stuff. Like, if they wear them in the home run derby, that's fine. That's totally okay. But I still think that the biggest win out of all of this is the fact that they are going back to their respective jerseys. I think that's huge. I absolutely love it. Yeah. Other than that, man, I don't have too much on the details of the jerseys or the hats or
there's really not much to look at.
there's not. It's not like I can't break down like City Connect jerseys with this. It's very simple. National League AL or NLAL. That's it. So yeah, those are my 2 cents on the jerseys and the caps.
Exactly. And real quick with the voting, if the National League is not careful, you might have every position Dodgers. Because I think if looking at the National League voting standings right now, if a Dodger player is not in first and leading their respective position, they're like in second or third place,
Yeah.
and that's including the outfield too. You know, Andy Pages, he is going to be an All Star, and he should be. He is on the cusp of making the team in the voting, which is crazy. Um, Obviously, Judge and Shohei are leading the ways in the votes so far, as no surprise. I like how Rafael Devers is now number two in designated hitter with the Giants. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But look, Max Muncy, he's second place in third base voting. Like, I'm sorry, I
Over
love
Suarez.
I love Max
Oh
Muncy,
man.
but Max Muncy is not an All Star this year. He is not an All Star. You know, over Eugenio Suarez, and thankfully, I mean, I hate to admit this, but Machado will start and he should. But um, again, it's just I hear people complain about this every year, and I get it. I completely understand it. Like Dodger fans, they do kind of overflow the voting a little
Yeah,
bit. Like Tommy Edman. Now he was an all star for the first month of the season. Not not like from like May something to now. And
no,
he currently would be an all star. But hey, I'm not complaining about it. The more Dodgers you can get into the all star game, I'll take it. I'll take it. But again, Teoscar Hernandez. Right now he would be the third starter with Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker with the Cubs. I like Teoscar. He's not an all star this year. He shouldn't be an all star. He
mm,
missed some time with injury and he's been kind of bad with runners in scoring position ever since he came back. And here's the thing. Listen, I understand that he's been playing better recently, and I know everybody gets caught up in the name. Why is Juan Soto? Why is he the top 6
no
in the
clue.
National League in voting? Am I miss like obviously the name, and I know the Mets have a big fan base here, but and another one. Now this one I can give a pass because they are hosting the game. Why is Ronald Acuna Jr.? Why is he the last person
No clue.
over James Wood and Fernando Tatis Jr. and Andy Pajes? You know, but I don't know.
Pers-
That's my thoughts. That I'm just looking at the National League, but I
it's
pretty much got them all right too when we put out
yeah.
our selections.
There's a couple that kind of irritates me in the National League. I don't like that Brendan Donovan is in fourth place.
Yeah,
I
that's bad.
I was huge on Brendan Donovan, and like you said, I don't think he deserves it over Tommy Edman. But a lot of these things, you got to remember the teams that they play for. Um, Now, Juan Soto and Ronald Acuna Jr., do I think that they deserve a spot over Andy Pajes or James Wood or Tatis?
Not this year.
Not this year, they don't. But it's the name and it's the team they play for. This is what we have to deal with when it comes to the All Star game. There's going to be players who, and also too, I was very big on Hunter Goodman out of
Yes.
Colorado. I think he's going to be their All Star, but it irritates me. He's in fifth place in the catcher voting. Will Smith, I understand. I get it. Carson Kelly, yeah, I guess I can get behind it. But you mean to tell me that Real Muto and Alvarez? I don't know, man. It's just small market, and for the fact that he's in fifth place, I think that says something. But yeah,
Here's here's one in the American League, and I know this is gonna bother everybody, but I'm
mhm,
sorry, I have to say it. Can we stop voting Mike Trout into the All Star game?
yeah,
Why? I understand that's gonna bother a lot of people because don't get me wrong, Trout is an all time great, and but he's not a great player anymore.
no,
I'm looking at his stats right now. A 227 batting average, 11 home runs, 27. Like
that's
does
not
that
all.
does that scream all star to you?
Mm,
Listen, I understand we get and Mike Trout's not the only player. Like this has happened many times before. You know, like never mind. I'm not gonna say that either. But um, like I know that's probably gonna ruffle some feathers and that's gonna bother some people. But can we stop voting for these guys just because of their name?
hmm.
Seriously, and I'm not. I'm kind of ironic that I do the same thing sometimes. There's been a couple years where I'm like, all right, I'm just voting for him because of the name, just because I don't really love the other options here. But you mean to tell me that Mike Trout is gonna be the starting outfielder in the American League this year? Like, has like when you think of when I think of All Star, I think we honor the players that have had the best first half of the regular season and deserve to be there.
Agreed.
I'm sorry, but that's not Mike Trout. Mike Trout is not a top 3 outfielder in the American League right now. I'm sorry, he's just not. Like, can we stop voting for him?
There's
Sorry.
no, I completely get it. There was a few shocks for me in the American League.
How about Paul Goldschmidt?
I was just gonna say he's my guy. I love it. I didn't think that he'd be getting those votes, but he deserves it, man. He really does. He has completely turned around this first half for the Yankees. He's been a huge contributor, second best player in the Yankees lineup, and that's huge. So I absolutely love to see that, but it did shock me. Now, there is a few that kind of irritate me a little bit. Um, because Rafi Devers is now out of the American League, that shoves my guy, Ben Rice, look at that shit, into DH. He's in second place right now. But no, the one that kind of irritated me a little bit, Jackson Holiday.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm not a fan. I love that Gleyber Torres is leading the way. He deserves it. But yeah, Jackson Holiday. I don't think he has a place there. Um, Now looking at the outfielders here, I'm not necessarily mad with any of them. I do get behind the Mike Trout statement that you made, because I do think Kerry Carpenter deserves a spot in this outfield. So um, I don't know if he'll get there, but you know, Mike Trout, I don't think should be in that voting. Overall,
I,
though, I'm not completely mad with the way that the voting went. Um,
I'm glad MLB fans got behind Jacob Wilson.
yes, I agree.
He's obviously you know, he's not exactly running away with it. Of course, Bobby Witt Jr. is in second place, but I'm glad that fans are rallying behind Jacob Wilson because he deserves to start in the All Star game this year.
Absolutely, he does. Um, and we kind of touched on this last week, I believe. Um, we kind of had the discussion of who would come out with the most votes. As of right now, Judge is leading the way with 1.5 million. Otani's not too far behind with 1.3. He's about to be at 1.4. So I think it's going to be close with the two. But yeah, we kind of hit it right on the head with who was going to have the most votes.
Yeah, exactly. And I would have been shocked if Ohtani and Judge were not were like the top vote getters in their respective leagues.
1A, 1B. That's kind of
Yeah,
how that's been
exactly.
working.
I think there's kind of some racism behind. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. To be honest with you, if we want to really get into it, no, I'm just kidding. Uh, no, clearly, like Judge and Ohtani are clearly the best two in their
Yeah.
leagues. So, but I don't know. I just thought Ohtani would be first. That's all. That's all.
Yeah. No, I get it.
He still has time to make it as a pitcher too. I'm just
He
saying. I'm just
does. Yeah.
a little bit of time, not too much, but
True.
you
True.
know. All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for this episode.
Yeah, I think so,
Touched
man.
a lot of top. We touched a lot here.
There wasn't too many topics, but we were really able to dive deep into all of these. So overall, I think we touched everything very well, and Devers still shocks me. It's probably going to shock me the rest of the year. Just saying. So
Yeah, that's a head scratcher, and
yeah,
it's
for
gonna
sure.
continue like that for years. And hope you can't wait for next month when we go when the All Star game it's in Atlanta and it's the American League versus the Dodgers. That'll be fun.
Pretty much. Yeah.
When your NL infield is Freddie Freeman, Tommy Edman, Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, Will Smith, and your outfield is Andy Pajes, Teoscar Hernandez, and
Yeah,
Michael Conforto is 15th in voting, and he
that's
hasn't done
insane.
shit
That's
for
insane.
this team. That's crazy to me. But anyways, uh, thank you guys for listening again. Hopefully, I wasn't too bad with my voice and my sound, but I think I did okay.
Sound great, man.
I'm getting better. I'm getting there. Thank you. Uh, yeah, just continue to look out for our stuff, and sorry for the delay. Kind of got screwed up yesterday with the Otani timing and everything, but
Mhm.
it was better, which means I was able to give my actual thoughts about this. So that's good.
Very true. It worked out.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you Monday. Adios.